What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's edition of the On Purpose podcast, where it's our privilege and our pleasure to be here with you each and every week to get you moving, get you thinking, get you questioning, maybe even just reminding you of something that we've talked about or something you said to yourself that serves or doesn't serve you anymore. And that's kind of the theme of this week's show is as we build upon our Dream Chasers series. And, this month of June, we're going to feature some people that are going to be competing in the Copper Kings 100 with Trey and I, not just because they're running, but to understand the story of what makes them want to push themselves like that, to put themselves on the line, to challenge themselves in a way that doesn't maybe make sense to a lot of people. And I'm excited for those stories. But one of the things that I keep coming back to is the theme for this week's show, and that is being careful of what you say to yourself. Right? There's a certain kind of fire that comes from being underestimated, from hearing someone say you can't, but deciding you will. And honestly, for me, for a long time, that was my fuel. I didn't need encouragement. I didn't need belief. I was strengthened by doubters and critics and people who told me I couldn't do things. And then I knew I would just keep working harder and longer to prove them wrong. But here's something that I didn't understand then that I've learned to grow is that when your fire comes from other people's doubt, you're letting them hold the match to when it ignites, when it's going to be there. And what I found in my life is eventually that burns out. When you're fueling yourself off the negativity and the critics, to me, it's like a short-lived burn. It's intense, but when it's gone, what skills am I left with? And I wanted to share that thought and those ideas with you this month as we're halfway through the year, long enough into the year to see what's working, where we got to make adjustments, and we still have enough time to correct course and get ourselves to where we wanted to be. So what I want to talk to you about is how we're letting other people's words or the words that we tell ourselves shape our self-talk, our self-image, our belief. To share that, I'll go backwards, and that was when I was younger. I used to love when someone told me I couldn't do something. It lit me up, it sharpened me, it made me excited to go do it, right? It didn't matter if they told me I was too small, I'm not ready, you can't do this, you're not meant to do that. I didn't let that create doubt. I didn't let that deter me. I didn't fold. I thrived on it. My motivation was simply to prove them wrong, just to prove to them that their words meant nothing. And as I aged and I got older, I started to realize that's a terrible long-term strategy, right? Because eventually the people that are giving you the fuel that you're relying on, they move on to other things. Maybe they quit even paying attention to you. So when that's no longer there, when that source of your fire is gone, what do you have? What are you left with? And I started thinking to myself, what am I teaching those around me? Right? If I'm pushing myself and I'm taking on goals and challenges simply because other people say I couldn't do it, what am I teaching my kids? What am I teaching the people that follow me that we're motivated and pushed when people don't believe in us? But what do we do when they're not there? How do we believe in ourselves? See, if you're only believing in yourself when somebody else doesn't, you're not really believing in yourself. You're reacting to a stimulus. You're defending from their words. You're performing, but you're not becoming. So, and this was probably in my late 30s, maybe, that I really had to reshift. How did I find motivation? How did I find drive to do the things I knew I needed to do to get to where I wanted to be, but I was no longer dependent on proving anybody else wrong? Because one of the biggest things I realized when I stayed in that space of proving other people wrong, I held on to who I used to be. Why their words would carry so much weight with me had nothing to do with who I was now. It was all because they had weight with me then. And to really grow myself, I had to shift the focus away and realize I needed to learn a new skill that was uncomfortable, that maybe I hadn't been taught in school or growing up. And that was to believe in myself, not because of anybody else, but because I said I could do it. Not because somebody said I couldn't, not because I needed to prove anything, not because I needed to silence somebody, but because deep down inside, I knew I was capable of more, that I could grow, evolve, and rise to the occasion because I chose to. And let me tell you, when you get to that point, now you start realizing, okay, this belief is far different from what I used to have. It's quieter. I don't have to tell people about it. It's steadier. It's not so intense. It comes and goes. It's sustainable. And it's built off my truth. Right? My truth is that I believe in myself. And now the people that are actually watching me, the ones I want to attract to my circle, we're not filling each other with words of doubt or criticism. We're not sharing the stories of who doesn't believe in us. We're attracted to this because we're all choosing to believe in ourselves. And maybe when I am doubtful, I can look at you and go, oh, wait, look what they're doing. That's right. I got these skills. Because it comes full circle, right? Once the external noise fades, the only voice I have left is my own. And then it becomes the most powerful voice in my life, right? Because if what we tell ourselves is not just storytelling, it's a blueprint to what we're building. If I tell myself I'm not enough, it's easy to shirk your responsibilities. If I tell myself it's too late, I'm too old, you start to move like you're old. If you tell yourself you're not built for big things, I don't try big challenges. But if you tell yourself the truth, the real truth, things can change. Simply like, I can do this. I am capable. I'm built for the long game, which means I don't have to have instantaneous success today. I just have to put in the work today to get me to my goal down the road. And I believe in me because I've earned the right to believe in me. And how do I earn that right? By showing up each day, by doing the little things that I told myself I'm going to be. And it seems silly, right? But I always go back. This is one of my favorite examples. If you set your alarm for 7 because you're supposed to be up at 7, and then you hit the snooze 3 times and wake up at 7:20, well, you've already started your day breaking promises to yourself, right? You were supposed to get up at 7 for a reason. So just a little thing like that sets the tone for the day. If it goes off at 7, I get myself out of bed at 7, I just held my word. I just did what I told myself I was going to do. Now my day starts with that win, right? Because my words and my actions do anchor me to the course of where I'm trying to go. They lead me to the place I want to be. And the more I study self-talk and the more I read about believing in yourself, it goes both ways, right? Because what we are telling ourselves becomes our reality. If all my self-talk is negative and what I can't do and why I cannot do it, then chances are nothing's going to get done. If it's versus it's what I can do, what I'm capable of, even then, if I stumble, I struggle, I fall, I fail, at least I'm making progress working towards who I want to become and where I want to be. So the challenge I want to share with you in June is simple but powerful. I want you just to identify one sentence you're carrying that isn't yours. A sentence maybe someone told you, a doubt somebody else planted in your head, a story you've been carrying for years, reliving that may not even be true anymore. And replace it with one that comes from you, not from anger, not from bitterness, not from revenge, proving somebody wrong, but from a truth, because the life you want to live, the dreams you want to chase, the identity you're trying to build doesn't need all the external stuff. It needs you to believe in it. It needs your internal belief, your positive self-talk. So remember, be careful what you're saying to yourself, because it might just start becoming your reality. So think about this month of June. Join us on our Copper Kings journey. We're excited to have you here. It's only 4 short weeks from now. Trey and I will be out running around the woods for 100 miles to see what we can do, right? And we're not guaranteed the outcome, but we're guaranteed to show up. We're going to show up and we're going to put in effort. And that's all we got to do, right? The truths, the lessons we're going to learn are all going to come out down the road. We can't get bogged down on what might be versus dealing with what's right in front of us. And that is just the immediacy. So think about what you're saying to yourself. Follow through on the challenge. Let's shift some of our self-talk. Let's get the month of June off to a proper start. Have a great week, everybody.